Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Arizona.
Kenyon Deshay, Wild Horses can't keep the Arizona Diamondbacks from another dramatic win. They had one here last night at Chase against these Colorado Rockies. Cody Ross walking off with a sac fly in extras. And now we're set for the series finale here between the Rockies and the Diamondbacks on a Sanderson Ford Arizona Diamondbacks Sunday. Good afternoon from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. Tonight is the series finale, the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, final of 4 games here. And Bob, last night, once again, the Arizona Diamondbacks felt the need to go a little bit extra.
Give the fans a little more for their money. Why not? 6 extra inning games already this season. D-backs are perfect, tying a franchise record for most in a single month. You see the winning pitchers. Everybody in that bullpen has gotten involved at one point or another. 5 of the 6 came in the final game of the series. Doesn't matter how you win them, just win them.
Unbeaten in extra innings this season and unbeaten in series finale. We hope to keep at least one of those trends going here today. And now Jason Kubel is back.
Yeah, good to see Jason Kubel back. Left-handed power in the middle of that lineup. Jason's been playing down an extended spring, and I think the initial plan was to send him out to one of the affiliates, get him some at-bats, but he had 3 hits, including a home run yesterday. They said, let's get him in the lineup.
Yeah, it's nice to have that left-hand power bat back. Now, Didi Gregorius goes on the 7-day disabled list with the concussion symptoms while they wait and give him time to really settle in and evaluate it.
And given the fact the injury occurred a couple of days ago, they can backdate it. So really, he's only going to miss 5 more ball games. I think this is absolutely the right thing to do. This young man's a big part of the future of this organization.
Sure is. So Jason Kubel is back. We're set for baseball, and Patrick Corbin on the mound. The Diamondbacks unbeaten in series finales this season, and Corbin looks to make it 5 a charm here in his 5th start of the year. Much more from Chase Field coming up. Diamondbacks baseball on the air right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball is presented by Sanderson Ford. Series finale here this afternoon from Chase Field. The Colorado Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks, who have won 4 of their last 5, and they have Patrick Corbin on the mound tonight.
Well, we like Patrick Corbin on the mound. He's going to pitch against Walt Weiss's Colorado Rockies this afternoon. Patrick Corbin has been outstanding in the early going this season. This is the Rockies lineup he'll face today. One major difference down in that 7th spot. Highly touted prospect Nolan Arenado getting his first major league start here at Chase Field today.
He has been their top position prospect for several seasons now, and this is his major league debut. He is considered their future at third base, and we'll see him tonight in his major league debut. Your Arizona Ford starting pitcher, it's Patrick Corbin.
Corbin's gone at least 6 innings in every one of his starts so far this season. Last time out against the Giants, he was the winner in an 11-inning game. 6-4 victory for the D-backs. Went 7 1/3, gave up 6 hits and 2 runs in that game. Struck out 7, did not walk a batter.
Eric Young Jr. is in there. There's a strike. We're underway. Lance Barksdale behind the plate. EY Jr. 288, no homers and 4 RBI. He came up last night as a 9th inning pinch hitter and lined out, and Jr. has really been playing well lately. 341 over his last 11 games. 15 for 44, including 3 triples. And it will be hard, Bob, to equal what we saw from Wade Miley last night with 4 walks in that first inning and 7 in 4 1/3.
One of the more amazing escape acts I've ever seen.
It was Houdini-esque, that's for sure. 2-1 now to EY Jr. Paul Goldschmidt not going to get there. There's the speed by EY Jr. He's into second, safe. Vic Carapazza says he's in there. There's that speed. Leadoff double here for the Rockies.
He just bangs that ball down into that hard dirt in front of home plate. Gets enough of it to get it past Goldie. Nice effort by Cody Ross to get that ball back in quickly. Quick tag by Pennington. Unfortunately, just too much speed for EY Jr.
Leadoff man on. Here's Dexter Fowler. Takes a strike. Fowler in there at 298, 7 home runs and 12 RBI. He has hit Patrick Corbin very well, 4 for 5 with a double and a triple in his career. And Fowler was a thorn in the side last night. He was on base 4 times, 3 walks and a double. He scored a run. Pops it up, almost bunted it into the Rockies dugout.
Yeah, I don't think Fowler's up there to give himself up. He's trying to bunt for a base hit and move Eric Young Jr. to third base.
Got a running start there. Now he's behind 0-2. Last 6 games, Fowler hitting .417, 10 for his last 24. And there are the career numbers against Patrick Corbin. Roof closed, panels closed this afternoon. Did he go? No, he did not. Kerwin Danley says he's still alive, and it's 2-2.
I don't believe him.
You're already complaining about the umpires? We're 2 batters in.
Yeah, I'm wrong. I stand corrected. Great call, Kerwin.
That was very magnanimous of you. How will robot umps define check swings? You got a laser, some kind of laser guidance system over there?
No, that we're going to trust a human element.
It's still in the lab? What?
Yeah.
Excuse me? Did you just say human element?
Yeah.
Wow.
I use the term human very loosely.
That's about as human as you'd like to see it right there.
I mean, you still need umpires for calls like that, check swings, catcher's interference, some of the other calls, but Balls and strikes.
You're going to have him back there just doing catcher's interference and check swings?
Well, it's something.
Tell that to the union. It's something.
But see, my theory is you put the fifth umpire up here in the booth. That's the trade-off. We take balls and strikes out of their hands, and we hire a fifth ump to sit up here and push the buttons.
2-2 now. You want to take away basically all their jobs, but yet add an umpire at the same time.
You give a little, you take a little.
You know what? I think you might be able to get that through. Gary Cederstrom doesn't look too thrilled with your plan. Try the 2-2 again here. Oh, got him. Bring him up, sit him down. One away here in the first.
Patrick Corbin is sneaky quick with that fastball. I think it's more a case that he hides the ball extremely well, but he can sneak some heaters by on that inside part of the plate and freeze some pretty good fastball hitters.
And here's another one, Troy Tulowitzki. 312, 6 homers, 22 RBI. He has a 9-game hit streak against the Diamondbacks, 12 for 30 over that stretch with 12 RBIs. And he had another big hit against Arizona here last night. There's a strike. RBI single in the 7th to tie the game at 2. These Rockies will hit left-hand pitching. A lot of right-hand power bats in this lineup. Tulo and Cargo and Rosario, Pacheco, Kadire. They'll wear you out. Tulowitzki 11 for 32 over his last 10 games overall. 3 home runs and 11 RBI. Leadoff double for EY Jr. here in the first.
We talked about Eric Young Jr.'s speed out there at second base. It hasn't really translated into base stealing speed at this point. He's attempted 5 stolen bases. He's been thrown out 3 times. We've talked about it in the series in Colorado as well as here at Chase Field. The Rockies all have the green light to run anytime they feel they can get a jump.
And he is beyond question one of baseball's fastest players. Sets of signs to run through with a runner on second. A little too long for Tulo's liking.
Make him stop. Good move by Patrick Corbin. EY jumping around out there at second base, trying to get a walking lead, possibly to attempt to steal third base. If you're not comfortable on the mound, if you feel like he is about to time your delivery, that's the right thing to do. Just step off and start over again.
Shortstop Cliff Pennington will backhand it and go to third. And they get Eric Young Jr. Eric Chavez applies the tag. Tulowitzki reaches 2 outs here in the first.
Boy, the Rockies base running in this series has been horrendous. Another example right here. EY running into an easy out at third base. The rule of thumb is a ball hit to your left, it's safe to advance. A ball hit to your right, you better make it go through. Thank you.
We saw them run themselves out of an inning twice in the inning last night. And not a good start on the bases here today. So 2 outs, Tulo on first, and here is Willeen Rosario, one of those right-handed power bats we were just speaking of. 3 for 4 here last night, including his 6th home run of the year. Base hit. Hard to score if you're sitting in the dugout.
Yep. I mean, it's one thing to be aggressive on the bases. Well, Diamondbacks have had a couple guys thrown out being aggressive on the bases this year, but there has to be a little bit of forethought and planning before you just take off for the next base.
2 on, 2 out. Here is Michael Kadire. 1-0. Kadire, 325, off to a very good start this year. 5 homers and 17 RBI. He was on base twice last night, a walk and a single. Two and 0. Kadire has hit safely in 6 straight, 7 for his last 23 with 4 RBI. In fact, he's hit in 10 of his last 11 games overall, 317 over that stretch. There's a strike, 2-1. Tulowitzki at second, Rosario the runner at first. Michael Kadire from Norfolk, Virginia, first-round pick by the Twins back in the 1997 draft. He was the 9th player selected overall. Wade Miley had a workmanlike first inning here last night. Patrick Corbin about to throw his 20th pitch here this afternoon. Look out! That was as hard a shot into a dugout as you will see in any baseball game. And is everybody okay? This is a rocket in there. Look out, Turner Ward. Steve Sachs, duck.
And Saxey still has his helmet on, which is a good thing, right? Over their heads, off the back wall. I think everybody's okay.
That was no joke. That was really, really hard hit in there. Left field. It drops in. They'll wave Tulo. Here's the throw. Welcome back, Jason Kubel. Fresh off the DL, and he throws out Troy Tulowitzki to end the first. He did that so well last year, and Kubel's back off the DL, and he has come up throwing. We'll go bottom 1. No score. to make a return.
Amazing. One hopper right at him out there in left field. Got himself into a good position. He realized he had time if he just makes a good throw and put a one hopper right in Miggy's mitt for what turned out to be a pretty easy out at home plate.
He had 13 outfield putouts last season, fresh off the DL, and Jason Kubel throws out Troy Tulowitzki and keeps the first inning scoreless. He's become very good at that, as you see there. So Diamondbacks set to start their offensive portion of the ball game, and here is the lineup that Kurt Gibson has out there. And here's a rarity, a day off today for Martin Prado.
Yeah, just hoping a mental day may help Martin Prado get back on track again. He's been struggling. A number of the Diamondbacks hitters have been struggling, but they just find a way to score those runs, especially late in the game.
Good to have Jason Kubel back in the lineup, and Martin Prado getting a breather today. Don't have to worry about whether the Sox are up or down.
No.
So the Fox Sports Arizona I-team gets a day off from the investigation, which is ongoing.
Well, for those of you who are keeping track at home, he is wearing his pants down today.
John Garland on the mound for the Rockies, and here is Gerardo Parra. In there at .313, a homer and 5 RBI. He was 1 for 4 last night, hitting 6th. Back in the leadoff spot tonight against this guy, John Garland, who they just got before camp broke, and it's worked out pretty well so far.
Yeah, 3 good starts, 1 not so good for John Garland. Last time out against the Atlanta Braves, they banged him around pretty good, surrendered 3 home runs. Worked 6 innings, gave up 10 hits and 6 runs. When he's right, he throws that ball down low in the zone, gets a lot of ground balls. You see his arsenal of pitches. 3 different fastballs, a 4-seamer up in the zone, a 2-seamer down, a cutter away from the right-handers. There's the curveball right there.
Parra riding a career high and National League leading 12-game hit streak. He's hit .319 during the streak, 15 for 47 with 8 runs scored. Hard down the right field line.
How about this, partner?
What do you got?
The last 2 days in the first inning, the Rockies have sent 11 hitters to the plate.
Nothing.
4 walks, 3 hits, and they didn't score. That's amazing. 1 double play, 2 runners thrown out on the bases. Wade Miley, the big beneficiary last night after walking 4 in the first inning.
1-2 to Parra now. Yeah, that's got to be frustrating. I know Walt Weiss was speaking to the reporters after the game last night and said, look, we had a million chances. I mean, you're not going to win. You leave that many guys on base. He said he had never seen a game before where so many guys were walked and yet didn't score. Tulowitzki. Parra's retired, 1 away. Our quote of the game brought to you by Geico, and this comes from Wade Miley regarding last night's somewhat miraculous outing in which he walked a career high 7, including 4 in the first inning.
Just didn't have it tonight, and that's pretty much the bottom line. Tried to battle through it, didn't have it. Team did a great job of picking me up. The relievers came in, Ziegler came in, did a great job getting out of that, getting the double play ball, and then we just did a great job winning that game.
Cody Ross here is the guy that won it with a walk-off sac fly in the 10th. Started the game with an RBI triple in the first. And look at that pitching line. 7 walks, no runs. That is Houdini-esque. How do you escape from that?
You know, I talked about it last night. I think that's a big step for Wade Miley. You know, he's had a lot of starts this year where he's had ace stuff when he took the mound, threw the ball exactly where he wanted. Last night, he did not have that at his disposal. He really had to grind to keep those zeros up there on the board, and it's a valuable lesson to have moving forward.
Off the foot, he's already got a protector on there.
On the top and inside of that left foot, that missed the guard. They always miss the guard.
More toward the ankle. Up and inside of the guard there. We just got an outfielder back. Big night for Cody here yesterday. Opened the game with the RBI triple in the first. Closed it out with a walk-off sac fly in the 10th. And he's getting a chance to walk this off a bit here.
It's not easy, I'll tell you what. Those hurt, obviously, and they don't go away anytime soon. That probably won't feel good till November.
I have talked to several former players, and they'll all tell you, guys that hit in the league for 10, 12 years, that it takes a toll on the feet. Guys who have serious foot issues, I'm talking broken bones and toes that just don't quite heal right from always fouling balls off their feet. Too low again. 2 up, 2 low down here in the first.
And Cody really laboring down that first baseline.
Left fielder, number 13.
That's especially a factor when you face a sinker ball pitcher. As you get a look at Cody dragging that sore left foot down the first baseline. You get right-handed sinker ball pitchers, the movement on that pitch will cause hitters to hit the top part of the baseball a lot, because of the angle of the bat as it comes through the hitting zone. A lot of those sinkers get pounded right down off that front foot.
Jason Kubel is back. There's the strike. 0-1. Kubel strained his left quad April 5th in Milwaukee during that play in which he scored from second on a wild pitch at Miller Park. He has been working out and playing in some games at Salt River Fields. In fact, he hit a home run yesterday, an extended spring game. And the plan was to have Jason play in games with AAA Reno on Monday and Tuesday, and then rejoin the D-backs here Wednesday. That would be the series finale against the Giants here, but he said yesterday he felt fine, and if it were up to him, he'd be ready to go, and that's it. So Jason Kubel's first at bat ends quickly. We'll go top 2 here. No score from Chase. We can print that. And by Valley Honda Dealer. There's a great deal on every new Honda. Visit your Valley Honda dealer today or online at valleyhondadealers.com. Ready for the top of the second here at Chase Field. No score. Jordan Pacheco, Nolan Arenado, and Josh Rutledge for the Rockies here in the second against Patrick Corbin. Patrick gave up 3 base hits in that top of the first. Pacheco on base twice last night, walking a single, 348, no homers and 4 RBI. He has hit in 5 of his last 6 games, 429 over that stretch. He's 9 for his last 21.
Had a 3-hit game in game 2 of this series. Also got hit by a pitch in that game, so he was on base 4 times, scored twice.
They have a lot of good young hitters, and we're about to see another one in Arenado in this system. I mean, you got Tyler Colvin, the former Cubs great, is down there, and there's all kinds of guys. LeMahieu, Arenado, Pacheco. Hard to second, Josh Wilson. One away. Here's Nolan Arenado in his major league debut. The Rockies already have Tulo and Cargo meet Nodo. Second round pick in '09 out of El Toro High School in Lake Forest, California. And he has been considered the Rockies' top position prospect ever since. Former Arizona Fall League MVP.
The award named after former Diamondback employee Joe Black. The MVP award in that Arizona Fall League.
Nolan Arenado in his major league debut.
The plaque honoring Joe Black here at Chase Field.
In the air, right side. Here comes Cody on that bat foot. And he's under it. Arenado retired, 2 away. That's some good news. Cody at least there, Bob, looked to be running all right.
Yeah, hopefully that thing won't tighten up too much on him. You get some swelling down there in the foot, ankle area. Because of the effects of gravity, that swelling is probably going to continue. I'm sure the trainers, when they have an opportunity, will wrap it up tightly to try to keep that swelling down and keep Cody in this game.
Josh Rutledge now. He was 0 for 4 last night. He's 0 for 7 in this series. Rutledge at .210, 3 home runs and 7 RBI. Prior to this series at Chase Field, he had hit in 5 straight, 5 for 17. Oh, 2 now, and Rutledge is another young bat in this organization, Bob. They've done a good job scouting, drafting, and developing these bats.
And the next step for the Rockies organization is figuring out a way to develop pitchers.
That may take a little more time. Swing and a miss. It gets away from Montero. Here's the throw. Rutledge is retired. Second strikeout of the game for Patrick Corbin. We go bottom 2, no score.
To celebrate Mother's Day when the D-backs take on the Phillies at 110. Don't have a gift for mom yet? Well, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. The first 5,000 moms will get a custom D-backs tote bag courtesy of Diet Pepsi. Get tickets now online at dbacks.com.
By the way, I have to say, the wife got one of those tote bags as part of a little prize pack yesterday, and they're really, really nice.
Nice.
Those are no joke. They did a great job with the tote bags. So moms, get out here. Paul Goldschmidt, Miguel Montero, Eric Chavez, 4, 5, and 6 here in the second against John Garland. Goldie at 308, 5 homers and 18 RBI. And with Paul Goldschmidt up there, it's a good time to remind you that every time a Diamondbacks player hits a home run this season, Fulton Homes will donate $150 to the Central Arizona Mountain Rescue Association. Goldie 2 for 12 in the series so far, 2 RBIs and 2 runs scored. One of those hits the big home run here Thursday. Ring him up, sit him down. Back-to-back strikeouts now for John Garland.
On the way at that outside corner, Rosario kind of pushes it back a little bit further to get that call. I think the Rockies feel like if you keep that ball right there on any hitter, you're going to get him out pretty consistently. But we've seen a lot of fastballs down low on the outside part of the plate to Goldie in this series.
Miguel Montero at 200, 1 homer and 10 RBI. He was on base twice last night, a single and a walk.
Got a couple of hard outs in that game as well. A line drive to left field, a hard hit ball to center, chasing Fowler all the way back to the track. It's getting closer.
He should have had a 3 for 5 last night.
Yep.
Absolutely. Fowler made a spectacular diving catch in right center to rob of him at least an RBI double. Miggy's hit safely in 4 of his last 5, 4 for his last 21. This is Dexter Fowler in right center last night.
Well, the tail end of the play was great if you're a Rockies fan, but what made it even more amazing was the fact that Dexter Fowler was shading Miguel Montero to the gap in left center.
Rutledge, it eats him up and gets into right. Now Miggy's starting to find some holes out there. Base hit.
Now batting, third baseman, Eric Chavez.
Top spin grounder, shooting through that right side. Rutledge just kind of short-armed that ball a little bit. Got into a position to make the play, just came up too quickly with the glove. But anytime a defender leaves his feet to try to make a play, it's probably going to be ruled a base hit. And it is.
Eric Chavez now. Chavez starting at third today. Eric came into last night's game as a pinch hitter. He was intentionally walked in the ninth, and they're at 229 now. 3 homers and 8 RBI, but over his last 8 games, hitting 273. 6 for his last 22.
Pretty good changeup there from John Garland. That's his 3rd best pitch. We mentioned he throws 3 different fastballs. Throwing some really good curveballs already in this game, and this time a straight changeup getting Chavez way out front. John Garland has been a very serviceable pitcher over the course of his career. He had a 9-year stretch when he had double digits in victories from 2002 to the 2010 season.
Well, he was a former first-round pick by the Cubs, 10th player selected overall in the '97 draft out of high school in Granada Hills, California. Steps off again. If you're a fan of revisionist scouting, Garland was taken exactly 1 spot after his now teammate Michael Kadire in the draft. Big cut there by Chavez. Garland also drafted 6 picks ahead of Lance Berkman. Although the Cubs, as sometimes they do, kept him in their system only a year, and he was dealt the following season to the White Sox for Matt Karchner. And Garland, of course, a part of their World Series rotation. Hard to right. Montero heads for third. Chavez stops at first. They're on the corners with 1 out for the Diamondbacks here in the second.
Love to watch veteran left-handed hitters with a runner on first base. Chavez really rolls that left hand over, ensuring he's going to hit the ball to the right side of the field. And this time finds that split between the first baseman and second baseman, chasing Miggy all the way around to third.
So a chance here for Josh Wilson. Josh had a big night here last night, 2 for 4, made several sparkling defensive plays at second base. He and Cliff Pennington turned 3 double plays in the first 5 innings. And they were .217, 5 for 23 in 11 games. In games that Josh Wilson has started this season, he's 5 for 20 and has played an excellent second base.
Excellent defense. He and Cliff Pennington make a real good double play combo up the middle of the field.
And there they are. Time now for the AT&T Twitter poll question. What is your favorite home jersey? This is a good time for it because the D-backs wore the white on Friday, yesterday the Saturday black, and today the Sedona red. So tweet your vote to @FoxSportsAZ and we'll have the results later in the game. BB, do you have a preference?
You know, I like the classic look of the home whites. Very crisp and clean, but I got to admit, I like the black ones last night. It was a nice look.
I favor the whites myself, so that's a nice look. The Sedona red really pops against that nice clean white. Up the middle. They get the force at second, and they turn it. Run doesn't score. That ends the inning. Diamondbacks have their chance. They can't convert. We're through 2. No score.
He and his family are here, and he did a great job.
Chase Field, Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brunley, and Charlie Estrella on the way. It's Sanderson Ford Kidcaster, the first Kidcaster of the season, and Charlie, you're the big winner. How's it feel?
Awesome.
Awesome. Now I notice you have the same problem I do, in that you have headset hair. Have you adjusted for that at all?
Nope.
All right, you're just going to kind of go with it. That's what BB does.
Charlie, at least you have hair.
Now, Charlie, how did you find your experience here as the Kidcaster winner on this Sunday?
So awesome.
What'd you do?
I announced the badass.
Yeah? Did you
Yep.
get to meet anybody?
Yeah.
Who'd you meet? Gerardo Parra.
Yep.
Is he your guy?
Yep.
How is he? He's pretty cool, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Now, you are going to do play-by-play here. Now, I'm just learning how to do this, clearly. Have you ever done any? So
Nope.
This is your first run at it.
Not even practicing at home with your buddies when you're playing ball in the yard or anything like that?
Nope.
Well, good. This will be a good experience for you then. Take it.
All right, so we'll let John Garland hit, Charlie, and then when Eric Young Jr. comes up, that'll be your call. Is that all right? So Garland is retired, and now our first Sanderson Ford Kidcaster. It's Charlie Estrella here from a Payne Junior High School. And Charlie, you have the call now. This is Eric Young Jr. up for the Rockies and Patrick Corbett on the mound for the D-backs. So Charlie, take it away.
What do I say?
Well, you just basically describe what you see.
Okay.
That's what I do. I just kind of look at the game and tell people what I'm looking at. So here comes Eric Young Jr. And you just describe the action, and we'll sort of see how this goes.
Patrick Corbin on the mound.
See? Great
Here
start.
comes the pitch. Foul ball.
And that makes the count 0-1. That's a strike.
Young doubled in his first at bat.
I like that, Bob. He showed up with information.
I like it.
Charlie's done some scouting.
Where was that pitch?
Inside.
Okay.
Here comes the start pitch. And he hits a fly ball to right center, right field. His bases, he's running, he's going to.
You got a double.
You got a double.
That's EY Jr.'s second double of the game.
His
You were
second
right
double
on
of
that
the
one,
game.
man. You were right on it. Let's take a look now. Charlie, do some analysis here. Try Bob's job. What do you see?
I see a ball hit, good swing. He's learning how to get the ball. And how to do that in the cutoff to the cutoff man.
So Eric Young Jr. is on second base with one out. And now here's Dexter Fowler. Now, Charlie, how did that feel?
That felt great.
All right, you want to do this at bat, Dexter Fowler?
Okay. Dexter Fowler hits it right to center right field, foul ball.
Charlie, we've done our own scouting and we've got some information. Would you care to take us through that? Your other favorite team are the Cardinals.
Yep.
You like football?
Yeah.
Now, Adventure Time. Bob and I have never seen that. What is that show?
It's just this show. It's cartoon characters and weird stuff.
Okay. Bacon wrapped hot dogs. That's your favorite food?
It's awesome.
Do you get that? Do you get that at home or here at the ballpark?
And my mom makes it at home sometimes in Mexico.
Bob Brenly.
Pickoff.
It's another Rockies base running clinic. Charlie, have you ever seen a team have this many base running miscues in the last two games?
I don't really know.
Yeah, it's been a little rough.
Nice inside move by Patrick Corbin. Eric Young trying to get a big jump, and the Diamondbacks kind of baited him into that stolen base attempt. You could see the middle infielders were split wide apart, allowing Young to get a bigger lead, and then Patrick Corbin spun around and picked him off.
That's twice now that Eric Young Jr. has been standing on second base and been thrown out trying to get to third. And now, Charlie, we resume the action. It's a 1-1 and you're at bat here with Dexter Fowler. So you want to take it from here?
I don't.
You're on it, man.
Okay.
Okay.
Two
This
outs.
is all you.
Pitch 3 coming. Ball 2.
Charlie, do you play baseball?
Yeah.
What position?
First base mostly.
Oh, all right. So you're like Goldie.
Payne Junior High School, is that right? What's your mascot? Are you
It's a Panther guy.
the Panther? All right.
Oh, that's kind of like a Baxter.
A little bit.
Did you get to meet Baxter?
Yeah.
I like Baxter. He's pretty cool.
3-1 pitch.
Cliff Pennington throws him out. Charlie, great job, man. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you for making my dream come true.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Another Sanderson Ford Kidcaster. Thanks, Charlie. We go bottom 3 here, no score. Great job, man. Tulowitzki is out of the game, and at this point we're just speculating, but he was, of course, involved in that play at the plate that ended the top of the first inning.
Here's the play at the plate, and you'll see major contact here. Tulowitzki has nowhere to go as Miguel Montero has the plate blocked. And as he went out to take his position in the next half inning, he was rubbing the back of his left shoulder, kind of cranking it around a little bit. Now has come out of the ball game in favor of Jonathan Herrera.
Leading off for the D-backs, shortstop.
So Tulo out, Herrera in, and the Rockies are minus their franchise player right now on a day where Carlos Gonzalez was getting a day off, and now Tulo's out as well. John Garland set to start the third here. Corbin, Parra, Ross, 9-1-2. Pennington in there after the force out last inning. Cliff 0 for 4 last night, 2 strikeouts. There's a base hit, Cliff Pennington. And here comes Patrick Corbin.
46, Patrick Corbin.
Patrick does have a hit on the year. He's 1 for 8 with 4 strikeouts. So he's in there at 125.
Looking for his first sack bunt of the season. You would certainly expect it in this situation.
Gets it down. Garland will take it. Pennington to second.
Center fielder, Gerardo Parra.
Gerardo Parra grounded out to short his first time up.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 6 runs or more, you know what that means. Taco Bell's giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Parra looking to extend his 12-game hit streak. One and 0. Still only 2 games all season in which Gerardo Parra started but did not get a hit. There's been only 1 game all year that he didn't get on base. Left field, it drops in, the way Pennington. Oh, Matt Williams changes his mind. Everybody hold up. P.Y. Jr. gets it in there quickly. He was waving him in and then quickly put the brakes on there.
Not unusual for a third base coach to do that. Keep waving the guy so you get him to run hard all the way through the base. And if the left fielder comes up with the ball quickly, then you throw up the stop sign.
So a base hit for Parra, his hit streak now to 13 games, and that brings up Cody Ross. First and third, 1 out here.
Well, you love those rallies that start down there at the bottom of the order. The number 8 hitter, Cliff Pennington, with the leadoff single. Patrick Corbin with the nice bunt. Then you roll around to the top of the order. And for the D-backs, the guys at the top have been doing most of the damage this year.
13 games extends Parra's career high and the National League lead for the current active hit streak. Cody grounded out to short his first time up. Right back at Garland. Can't find it. Everybody holds up. They throw Ross out at first. Parra advances to second. Nowhere Cliff Pennington could really go there. The ball was sitting right in front of the mound.
You're taught to freeze on a line drive, even a line drive back to the pitcher. Garland, in self-defense, just deflected that ball up in the air. You see Pennington started for home plate, saw the ball laying right there in front of the mound, had no choice but to hold his ground. They do get the out at first base, but 2 guys in scoring position now for Jason Kubel.
Jason, if you're just joining us, activated before the game off the DL after that strained left quad suffered April 5th in Milwaukee. It gets through Rosario. Here comes Pennington. Parra moves up. 1-0 Diamondbacks. And Bob, as we mentioned, that has been the issue for Willie Rosario. He's a tremendous offensive player, but the defense has been a problem. And once again, it bites him. 21 pass balls last year and 13 errors.
That's just a clank. No other way to describe that. Sinking fastball on the outside part of the plate just clanks off the webbing of the glove all the way to the backstop.
Pass ball, Parra to third, a run in here.
Yeah, we documented Rosario behind the plate the other night. Started the game with an all-black catcher's mitt and then switched in about the 2nd or 3rd inning of the game to the one he's wearing today. A little bit bigger. Not big enough.
That'll get out of play. They have worked with Rosario's feet and try to get his defense to catch up with his offense, and it's certainly been a work in progress. At one point in the game last September in Philadelphia, he was charged with 4 pass balls in one game, and they've worked on getting him more Bob square to the mound.
Now, you can work on all the mechanical things you want back there behind the plate, but the reality is it's your attention and your focus and your anticipation. If you know you've called for a sinking, tailing fastball on the outside part of the plate, you need to be aware that that ball might move a little bit further than you expect and be prepared for that. He's just very casual on that pass ball.
Here's another one. It's in the dirt. Here comes Parra. Safe. 2-0 D-backs. Once again, Gerardo Parra's aggressive base running pays off for the Diamondbacks.
There's only a handful of base runners in the game that would attempt to score on this wild pitch. That ball didn't get very far away from home plate at all. It didn't even leave the dirt around the home plate area, but Parra with a little body English there, able to get around the attempted tag by Rosario. Tack on the second run of the inning.
So Kubal's, in a sense, driven in 2 runs, and he hasn't got the bat on the ball yet other than to hit into foul ground. That one's a wild pitch. The first one was a pass ball. So 2-0 now, 3-2 to Kubal. Last season, Rosario would, when he would set up back there, often had his left leg forward, and that made it hard to stay low enough to block those pitches and reach balls off the plate. And this year, as I've said, they try to get him to, square up like he is there. Strikes out looking. Third strikeout of the game for John Garland, but the Diamondbacks get 2 runs. We'll go to the fourth. 2-0 D-backs.
Coffee with Steve Berthume. Ken Kendrick talks to Steve about being a baseball owner and what his plans are for that famous Honus Wagner baseball card. It's Cup of Coffee next Sunday at 4 right here on Fox Sports Arizona.
Nice sell.
Looking forward to that.
Got a chance to sit down with Mr. Kendrick and talk about growing up in West Virginia and his role here in the Valley, not just with the Diamondbacks, but with the business community as a whole, and the Diamondbacks involved in so many areas of the Arizona community. So that's coming up. Sat down with Miguel Montero. That's a show we'll have later in the month, too.
I hope Miggy had decaf.
I wanted to ride in the Ferrari, but that didn't work out. Jonathan Herrera strikes out. Third strikeout for Patrick Corbin to lead off the fourth. Herrera hitting in Tulowitzki's spot. And how about this for efficiency, Bob? 10 of 12 first pitch strikes.
That follows the pattern he's been in all year. First pitch strike percentage in the National League this year. Patrick Corbin going into play today was tied with the Cardinals' Shelby Miller. Each had thrown 73% first pitch strikes this season. Just as a point of reference, the league average is 60%. Pounding that strike zone.
Willeen Rosario singled his first time up. Boy, he's having a heck of a series. He was 3 for 4 here last night. his second home run in as many games. He's got a single here to lead off the first. Up again in the fourth. He's been a handful. 366 over his previous 11 games. And Bob, I mean, he's going to have to learn to catch because they got to get his bat in there.
Well, as long as he drives in more than he lets in, I think they'll keep him behind the plate because offensive catchers are hard to find. But it's going to reach a point where his lack of skill behind the plate may end up costing him some ball games.
There's another strikeout. 2 up and 2 down here in the fourth against Corbin, who's now K'd 4.
Now the good news for the Rockies, Rosario seems very receptive, very coachable. It's just it's going to take some time. If it's not natural to you, it's a very tough thing to learn.
Michael Kadire singled back in the first.
I know you probably feel the same way, Steve, but I don't mind having Michael Kadire come to the plate with nobody on base. This guy has had some clutch at bats for the Rockies already this season.
He sure has, and as we mentioned, if he can stay healthy, and with Michael, that's part of the issue, and with a lot of the guys in this lineup, that's part of the issue. Kadire last season hit .260 in 101 games, 16 homers. He strained an oblique last July 31st, and after that could play in only 3 more games. So they lost him for a good portion of the season. In addition to Tulo and everybody else, Carlos Gonzalez is basically out there by himself. Kadire keeps it alive at 3-2 against Patrick Corbin. Patrick was last on the mound Tuesday in San Francisco and allowed 2 runs on 6 hits in 7 1/3. No walks, 7 strikeouts, and he was outstanding from the jump in that start. Retired the first 9 he faced, 12 of the first 13. Broken bat, shallow left. Kubel can't quite get there. Kadire heads into second. No man's land.
Nice effort by Jason Kubel out there in left field. Had a long way to go, respecting the power of Michael Kadire, playing deep in left. Just can't quite get there. Knocks it down on a short hop. Unfortunately gets far enough away to allow Kadire to advance on to second base.
So Kadire on second, 2 outs, and now Jordan Pacheco steps in. He grounded out his first time up. 275 career doubles now for Kadire. Former Twins great. It's amazing when we saw the inning that Rosario went through, Bob, when you watch Miggy, you almost get spoiled because he makes it look so easy.
Especially on off-speed pitches. When Miggy knows a breaking ball or a changeup or a splitter is coming up there to the plate, in the back of his mind, he is anticipating that ball being in the dirt. Occasionally on fastballs, any catcher can get caught by surprise. You just don't anticipate that pitch going in the dirt, so you just try to stop it as best you can.
2-0.
Now, this was a 93-mile-per-hour fastball in the dirt to Miguel Montero. Not perfect blocking form, but get the glove down there, try to get your body in front of it somehow, and he's able to keep it right there at home plate.
And I liked how you put it yesterday, block and recover. Three and out to Jordan Pacheco. Nolan Arenado is on deck. There's a strike, 3-1. Pacheco from Albuquerque went to the University of New Mexico, 9th round pick by the Rockies in 07. Good view of the infield here at Chase. Three and two now.
Couple of quality strikes to get back into the sequence here. One right on the outside corner. That one at the knees caught a little bit more plate. Really surprised Pacheco. First of all, wasn't swinging 3-0 and took another pitch 3-1 with a runner in scoring position.
Right center. Cody Ross is there. Kadires double. They strand him. We go to the bottom of the fourth. CenturyLink Girlink to what's next. Paul Goldschmidt, Miguel Montero, and Eric Chavez. Diamondbacks have the lead here at Chase. Proud partner of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And by Gila River, another proud partner of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Shot a beautiful downtown Jerome. D-backs up 2-0 of the Rockies. Bottom four, Goldschmidt, Montero, and Chavez. 4, 5, and 6 against John Garland. Goldie struck out his first time up. 2 runs in. One on a pass ball, the other on a wild pitch. All in one inning. So it's been a very odd weekend here. Garland ahead quickly, 0-2. Second base, and it gets by Rutledge. It's into right field. Paul Goldschmidt has a leadoff single here in the fourth.
Catcher, Miguel Montero.
That's something even the big power hitters have to do from time to time if they're just going to continue to work you away. Try to take some base hits to the opposite field and force them to come back inside.
Every single Diamondbacks hit so far, Bob, has been to that exact spot. Except for the ball that Parra hit. Montero, Chavez, Pennington, now Goldschmidt, all base hits through that hole into right. 5 hits apiece now. And here's Montero, who singled his first time up.
Hey, we invite you to play Kachinko by signing up at one of the 16 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Arizona Diamondbacks regular season home game.
When you do that, you get an autographed game piece, too. They give you, it's signed by J.J. Putz or somebody. John Garland hasn't pitched a full season since 2010 when he made 33 starts for the Padres. He sat out all of last year after shoulder surgery in 2011, which he said was the best thing that could have happened to him because it gave him a chance to return at his own pace. He actually spent most of this spring in Seattle's camp. He was there about a month. Had a good camp, but then got caught up in a numbers crunch and opted out of his contract on March 23rd when it was clear he wasn't going to make the opening day rotation with the Mariners. And the Rockies grabbed him the next day. He, of course, is the former Diamondback. He was here for part of 2009. Signed by Arizona as a free agent after the 08 season. Went 8-11 in 27 starts, and at the deadline he was dealt to the Dodgers for a player to be named, and that turned out to be Tony Abreu. There goes Goldie. They got Montero at first. Goldschmidt advances with one out.
Third baseman, Eric Chavez.
We mentioned in the game last night, Steve, one way you can get a hitter jump started is to play some hit and run. Only the fact that Arenado was playing so far off the third baseline kept that from being a base hit, because the shortstop Jonathan Herrera was breaking to cover the bag at second. There was a hole momentarily on that left side, but Rocky's third baseman closed it up quickly.
Arenado making his major league debut is at third, and Herrera at short. He had to come in for Troy Tulowitzki. The early diagnosis is a left shoulder strain for Troy Tulowitzki. Suffered on, we believe, that play at the plate in the first inning. He was tagged out by Miguel Montero, thrown out by Jason Kubel in left field. So a left shoulder strain, they're saying, for Troy Tulowitzki. 1-0 to Eric Chavez. Chavez singled his first time up. Each team with 5 hits so far. Rockies have left 3, 1 for the Diamondbacks. Rutledge at second. Goldie to third, 2 down. This is the play, Bob, on which we presume that Troy Tulowitzki strained his left shoulder.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that left arm and left shoulder as he goes hard into Miggy, just kind of dragging that left arm behind him in the dirt. Nowhere for him to go. I mean, you talk about blocking home plate. There wasn't even a trick slide to use to try to get in there that time.
Left shoulder strain, they're calling it. Yep, there it is. Josh Wilson. High in the air, left center. Josh Wilson gives it a ride. And it's off the base of the wall. He just missed it. Josh will stop at second. And the run is in. RBI double for Josh Wilson. 3-0 Diamondbacks. I tell you, every time he starts, he's going to give you the 1 for 3 and play good defense.
Just missed a long ball right there. Drove that one deep to the gap. Came on actually a pretty good breaking ball. Rosario was going down to potentially block it if it ended up in the dirt. Instead, Josh Wilson intercepts it and drives it off the Geico sign out there just to the left of straightaway center. About halfway up the wall.
So, third run for the Diamondbacks, but somebody finally got an RBI.
Yeah.
After a pass ball and a wild pitch in the first 2 runs. So Josh Wilson RBI double. And here's Cliff Pennington. Pennington singled and scored his first time up, and they're going to walk him and work to Corbin. Boy, execution's been an issue even when they're putting guys on purpose. We saw that, I think it was Escalona last night.
Yeah.
Threw a couple of it just
looked like every muscle in his arm was cramping up as he was trying to throw 4 wide ones.
He was throwing it while he was holding his breath. And Garland made that first one interesting. So it'll be 2 on and 2 out, and Corbin will be up here. He had a sacrifice bunt his first time up. John Garland is 0-3 in 4 starts as an opponent here at Chase Field, and he's behind 3-0 and still with some work to do here in the 4th. Maybe we can get that Wade Miley San Francisco home run swing, make that contagious here.
That'd be nice. If Corbin would happen to make contact and drive that ball through the infield, it's going to be tough for Josh Wilson to score from second base.
Tries to get it through the infield off the glove of Garland. Herrera's there, and they make the play. But Josh Wilson's RBI double gives the Diamondbacks a 3-0 lead. We're through 4 here at Chase Field.
Took a lot of rest, and I haven't felt my my quad in over a week, and been running around playing the last couple of days, and it's just feeling good, and hitting feels good, so I feel like I'm ready to go.
Yesterday there was talk of Jason Kubler going to Reno for a couple of days, but Kirk Gibson said they're a bit shorthanded. They wanted to activate him. They feel he's ready to go, and so he was activated today. Didi Gregorius, the corresponding move, has been placed on the 7-day DL, and so making that decision today, they're able to backdate it to Friday night, so he can return Saturday in San Diego. Kevin Towers told us that earlier today, and it basically is precautionary. The other thing, guys, is that he hasn't taken all the tests yet. The initial written test was there, and of course the trainers checked him out as well, but there is another test that is 20 questions that he has to take, and he will do that hopefully tomorrow. And again, erring on the side of caution, just going to give him some rest. I talked to Didi today. He said, yeah, the head still hurts a little bit, but he feels fortunate that that's really his only issue right now, guys.
Yeah, very lucky, Jody, certainly, and the news is encouraging for Didi Gregorius, and hopefully Didi will be back soon, but that's the great job that Major League Baseball has done in getting that 7-day DL ready to go for the concussion cases. Arenado grounds out, one away, because, Bob, the last thing you want to do is put a guy on the DL and lose him for 15 days and then discover 3 days later that he's fine.
Yeah, it's it's an injury that was ignored for a long time in the game of baseball. How many fingers am I holding up? If you guess close, you just keep playing. But because of the number of head injuries and concussions that have caused lasting damage to some guys and ended some careers, I think it's a great move on the part of MLB.
Yeah, you got to be proactive and protect the players, and they've done a great job with the technology regarding the batting helmet, and they've talked about pitchers wearing these Kevlar hats, and they're looking at all kinds of things. And The 7-day DL for concussions is just part of that. And of course, we've got coaches on both bases wearing helmets, so everything that can be done is being done. Rutledge struck out his first time up. He's 0 for 1.
That's a good pitch for Patrick Corbin. Once in a while, just make him uncomfortable in that batter's box. He's such a consistent strike thrower that hitters tend to get very aggressive against him.
High in the air to right. Cody Ross is under it. 2 down. Check out the Diamondbacks team shop. All kinds of stuff in there.
I can't go in there. I'll tell you, I would spend every penny in my pocket. So much good stuff in there.
Gotta get some Bob Brenly items in there. We could come up with a marketing idea and see if we can move some shirts or something.
Mechanical pencil with D-backs logo on.
In stores now. Garland grounded back to the pitcher his first time up. He shoots one to right here, and that is going to be out of play. Here you see the Colorado Rockies versus the rest of baseball averaging almost 6 runs per game, but versus these D-backs only 3.5. Well, the reason is they keep running into outs in the bases, at least in this series. Missed with that one, 1-2.
The Rockies piled up a lot of their numbers, going 9-0 against the Padres and the Mets, but there's no question this is a high-powered offense that will do a lot of damage this year.
Yeah, they had a favorable schedule, certainly, when they started out of the gate. But part of that, too, was that Chacin and De La Rosa were healthy and both pitching well. All the key bats in the lineup were healthy, as we mentioned. And they can be a good team when all those pieces are in place. It's when guys start getting injured and you have to go to the 3, 4, and 5 spots in the rotation that you really start to have some questions.
Gotcha.
But we've mentioned this is an organization that has a lot of good young bats in it. Some at this level and others a little down below. Wilson at second again. And that's a 1-2-3 5th for Patrick Corbin, who's retired now 4 in a row. Lots of, I don't get a Bob Brenly D-backs Baxter Bear thing there. Yeah, all right, wrap it up. Chase Field. Hey, FoxSportsArizona.com has all your online local sports coverage you can't find anywhere else. With tonight's game report from Jack Magruder, plus an interview with Cardinals' new draft pick Jonathan Cooper, along with Baseball Matters on FoxSportsArizona.com. That's Mitch Riggins' little new toy. He's got a camera strapped to one of those little robot helicopter things, and really, that's our truck. And Mitch and everybody are in there right now, broadcasting the game that's out behind Chase Field. And Mitch he's quite an enterprising young man. What he did was he went to Radio Shack. He spent about $10 on one of those little helicopters you remote control. He strapped a camera to it and he was flying it around the ballpark. Here's Parra. He has grounded out, singled, and scored a run. So the hit streak now up to 13. And what we want to get Mitch to do there, Bob, is to have him fly it all around the ballpark and sort of hover over the fences and give you a look at how some of the fences protrude out there, especially in center field, and kind of get a new look at it. All kind of crazy projects going on here. It's like a big lab.
You could use that as a defensive device as the hitter's in the box for an opposing team, buzzing with the helicopter as the pitch is on the way.
I'm sure that would go over big.
Drop water balloons in the bullpen.
Parra to center. Fowler can't get to it. Gerardo Parra at it again. Here he goes. He's heading for third. Gerardo Parra is in there.
Ball roped to the gap in left center out there, just to the left of straightaway center. Dexter Fowler with a very casual pursuit of that ball out there in left field, and Gerardo Parra takes advantage, never slows down, ends up at third base on his belly with a leadoff triple.
And more Gerardo Parra want. Cody Ross is 0 for 2. Here we go again. Everybody freeze.
That one didn't get much further away than the one he scored on back in the third inning. The dirt. Rosario blocks it off to the left side there, but this time gets on it quickly enough that Parra can't attempt to score. And of course, with nobody out in the inning and the 2, 3, 4 hitter scheduled to hit, you better not get thrown out at home plate.
Now, Bob, he's supposed to be squaring up to the mound more, as we mentioned. I mean, how's that look? It's
a work in progress. You know, old habits die hard. As I mentioned, there's a lot to learn back there when mechanically you're a little rough around the edges, and it's a lot of things to think about. You're trying to call a game for your pitcher, trying to position your defense properly depending on the pitch that you call, and sometimes thinking about receiving a pitch or blocking a ball in the dirt's the last thing in your mind, but it should be the first thing.
I mean, they're hoping to get him to square up to the mound or to the plate, too. See the ball better and cover more ground with his feet, get his feet in better position. And as Bob said, it's still a work in progress. Base hit. Here comes Parra. RBI single for Cody Ross. And it's a 4-0 Diamondbacks lead. Tell you what, we get all these pieces healthy and back in place, this thing is going to get rolling.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you, obviously the fans love the hustle of Gerardo Parra. We love the hustle, but his teammates love it even more. It creates an opportunity here for Cody Ross. With the Rockies forced to draw their infield in, that line drive gets through easily into center field for a base hit. Keep the pressure on the defense. It creates opportunities for the guys hitting behind you in the order.
A triple and a single to lead off the fifth, and here's Jason Kubel fresh off the DL. He's 0 for 2 so far, struck out twice. And we've yet to see it here in 2013. The plan, the blueprint that was in place before all these injuries, and piece by piece, guys are starting to get together now. And once Aaron Hill comes back and everybody else, Willie Bloomquist, Didi, this is going to be fun to watch. Herrera well over there on the other side of the bag from his shortstop spot. And Kubel rolls into 2 outs there. They had the shift on.
First baseman, call.
There's Aaron Hill. Tiny little fracture in his, it's called a surface fracture in his hand.
It'd be interesting to see when Aaron Hill does come back if he wears a pad on the back of that left batting glove. I think of former Astro Jeff Bagwell got hit repeatedly on the back of that left hand and eventually started to wear a really thick pad on the back of his left hand.
It's funny because with Aaron, the initial X-ray and the MRI showed nothing. And then a few days later, it still wasn't feeling quite right. They went in there, they took another look at it, and they found what Kirk Gibson told us was a very, very small, barely detectable surface crack. So they're being extra careful. Arenado at third. Boy, he's got a good arm. But the Diamondbacks get another run. They get 2 hits, and they get a 4-0 lead through 5 here at Chase Field. On to you by Ram Trucks. EY Jr. having some issues going second to third here.
Just poor base running fundamentals. Breaks on a ball hit to his right, then he gets picked off on the inside move at second base. I mentioned it at the time. I really think the Diamondbacks infielders set that play up. They really split wide, allowing EY to think he could get a bigger lead, and then Patrick Corbin spun around and picked him off. Fell right into our trap.
Well, there has been a lot of upside for EY Jr. tonight. So far, he's 2 for 2 with a couple of doubles. So he has been on base, and he's really swinging a good bat lately. Last time we were at Coors and saw Eric Young Jr., it was EY Senior bobblehead day. And I did not get a bobblehead of EY Senior, and I was a little ticked off. Center field. Gerardo Parra won't get there. It's off the base of the wall. Junior stops at second. That's 3 doubles today for Eric Young Jr.
Oh, we've got him right where we want him. Exactly. Boy, he's had a nice day with the bat. Drove this ball just to the right of straightaway center. Surprising power for EY Jr. Thought Parra might have a beat on that one, but that ball just continued to carry. One hops the fence out there in right center field. 3rd double of the game for Eric Young.
So once again, EY Jr. on second. No outs here in the 6th. Then Dexter Fowler is up. He has struck out and grounded out 0 for 2. I'm going to show you another view of center field here in just a moment. Base hit to left. They're going to wave at Eric Young Jr. Jason Kubel with the throw. EY Jr. dives in there and he's safe. Fowler up to second, 4-1 now. Although they're telling him that he has not touched the plate. Patrick Corbin urging Miguel Montero to go tag him, but I think they've settled that with Lance Barksdale behind the plate. Patrick had a case there. Let's see, does he get the plate or not?
Yeah, he's all over it.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, unfortunately, that throw from Jason Kubel took a second bounce. Had he been able to skip it all the way to Montero on one hop, they might have had a chance to get the speedy Eric Young Jr., but that second hop slowed the ball down just enough to give him a lane to the plate.
RBI single, Fowler to second on the throw. And here's Herrera, who's in there for the injured Troy Tulowitzki. Bunt, Patrick Corbin. Fowler to third. That was close.
Well, always a dangerous play when you got that runner streaking up the first baseline and that throw comes back into the baseline. Paul Goldschmidt gets out of the way at the very last instant. Getting that left arm, hand, and wrist out of the way.
Willeen Rosario has singled and struck out 1 for 2. .77 pitches now for Patrick, 51 for strikes.
Well, we saw something we haven't seen much of this year when Patrick Corbin's been on the mound with runners in scoring position. Hitters are only 4 for 21 on the season. That single by Fowler into left field, the fourth base hit in 21 at bats against Corbin.
Patrick had been cruising here. He started the inning having retired 7 of his last 8. Nice pitch there. How about that, Bob? Soft, pulled the string on them, then elevated with the hard stuff.
Up out of the zone. I think really that's the way you have to attack Willeen Rosario. You throw anything in the strike zone, he's got a chance to put it in play with authority. But he will chase.
That one gets away from Montero, and Fowler will score. Diamondbacks getting a little bit of their own medicine here, and the lead is cut in half.
That's just a bad hop right there. The spin on that slider causes it to kick back to Miggy's right just enough that it caught him on the right arm instead of the chest protector and bounced over near the Rockies dugout.
They ruled it a wild pitch. Fowler's in 4-2 now, and it's 3-2 to Willeen Rosario. Michael Kadire is on deck. Hard to left and foul. Now, as you'll recall, Jonathan Herrera, previous hitter, laid down a gorgeous bunt that the Diamondbacks barely threw him out on and moved Fowler over to third. Well, the official score has not given Herrera credit for a sacrifice as Rosario strikes out. So, okay. I guess he thought that Herrera was bunting for a base hit there. That's the only conclusion I can draw.
There's apparently a different view of the ball game from the press box just to our right than we have here.
Easy now. Here's Kadire. Seemed a fairly routine play. The runner's on. Guy advances him, and that's generally how it works. Cody Ross. That limits the damage, but the Rockies finally on the board here. It's 4-2. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Montero, Chavez, and Wilson in the Diamondbacks' 6th. part by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By Mazda, we believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. Mitch Riggin piloting our Fox Sports Arizona helicopter, and that gives you a unique look here. You're right at the same level as the terrace that juts out there above the center fielder.
Yeah, it's a different view. If you sit in the grandstand area behind home plate, you don't realize how far that overhang juts out onto the field. Definitely could come into play.
Yeah, creates some very unique bounces and angles out there. 407, 413 deepest park. We're set for the bottom of the sixth now. 4-2 Diamondbacks. Montero, Chavez, and Wilson here in the sixth against John Garland. Garland 68 pitches so far, 44 for strikes. Miggy hard to right. Will it stay fair? Foul. Boy, sometimes you just got to wonder when this guy's going to get a break.
He's so close to getting hot.
It's unbelievable. Fowler yesterday laying out like Superman in right center. Now he pulls one down the line here, and Noonan, it just misses.
So close.
And all that is a loud strike. Well, he's hit safely in 4 of his last 5, and he's got a hit here. Single back in the second, grounded out in the fourth, 1 for 2. So now make it 5 of 6. And with a lot of loud outs like that. Boy, he yanked that one.
He really did. First pitch curveball from John Garland that time. Miggy was all over it. Might have actually scared Garland off that pitch for the rest of the at bat. When you see a guy come up to the plate that's a notorious first ball fastball hitter and he crushes a curveball the way Miggy did, sometimes a guy will just stick that pitch in his back pocket for the rest of the at bat, if not for the rest of the game. All part of the cat and mouse that goes on between a hitter and a pitcher and a catcher.
Ball 4. Miguel Montero on base for the second time today. Hey fans, next time you're visiting Chase Field, be sure to stop by the new Pepsi Grab and Go concession stand outside section 104. You can look for the QR and scan for your chance to win great prizes and find all your favorite Pepsi products. So what this is basically, as this gentleman is acting out, you grab, and then you go. Okay, so it's grab and go. It's quick. You can do it almost between outs. It's that fast. Eric Chavez 1 for 2. Two now. It's great to look at this bench, Bob, the Diamondbacks have now, not only late in games and clutch situations when you need a major league professional at bat, but a day like today where you have Martin Prado who's scuffling a bit. You can finally give him a day, and you don't have to plug in Scruffy McScrufferson. You can go to a 6-time Gold Glover to play third base, and he can give you some power as well. Arenado over there all by himself. Herrera, they turn it. Well, that's got to be a lonely feeling. Your first major league game, you finally get the call up and somebody hits it to you. You're the only guy on that side of the field. Nolan Arenado.
An unusual 5-6-3 double play because of the exaggerated pull shift. Jonathan Herrera covers the bag at second from the second base side of the field. Yeah, that's just buzzard luck when you've got one defender on that side of the field, and unfortunately the ball's hit close enough that he can make a play on it.
Makes the old shovel pass, the wishbone quarterback. Josh Wilson, RBI double his last time up. And Josh just missed a home run. He gave it a ride way out there to the 413 mark. Yeah, I can't recall as I write that down a 5-6-3 double play. Don't see a whole lot of those.
Nope. You know, and the exaggerated pull shift has become very popular around the game. Some teams use it to excess, but it's something that you really need to work on in your defensive drills when you take ground balls before a ball game. If there are a number of hitters in the opposing lineup that you're going to play the pull shift, well, you need to work on turning double plays from that awkward angle.
And more as defensive metrics get worked into the fabric of game plans and such things, especially you see guys like Joe Madden have all these crazy shifts in Tampa Bay. The defensive shift, is you see it almost all the time now, especially with left-handers up there. Was there ever a Brenly shift?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're out of time.
Bring him into the dugout. Yeah.
We're through 6 here. Hey, the Sandlot getting their hacks in. We'll go to the 7th, 4-2 D-backs. Nice Sanderson Ford. MLB TV celebrating 11 years. Join the millions of fans and subscribe today. You can watch every out-of-market game live online or in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV today. It's baseball everywhere. Pacheco, Arenado, and Rutledge here in the 7th. Patrick Corbin still firing away out there. Patrick has gone at least 6 innings in all of his previous starts this year. He's gone through at least the 7th in both of the last 2. And he opens the 7th here at 86 pitches. Base hit. Our APS Energy All-Stars in the rotation, Bob, for the Diamondbacks. It's been the 4 and 5 guys.
Yeah, last night notwithstanding for Wade Miley, even though he pitched a shutout, he did walk a boatload of guys. But you get that kind of production out of the bottom of your starting rotation, you feel pretty good about your season. Well, if we could just get some of the guys at the top going.
And get them healthy. Nolan Arenado 0 for 2 in his major league debut here today. It's a big news for Rockies fans. Rockies have been waiting almost 2 seasons now to give the third base job to Arenado, who showed all kinds of promise early, but last year didn't quite develop at the pace they thought he might. He had an inconsistent season. In fact, the word disappointing came up a few times. Hit .285 in Double-A, 12 home runs. Right side foul. There were reports of some lapses in effort and concentration. At one point last season, Dan O'Dowd told reporters that Arenado's maturity level still hadn't caught up with his ability level. And Arenado, to his credit this spring, admitted that sometimes he let his frustration get in the way and showed it a bit too much. He just turned 22 years old about a week ago, so still a very young guy, and here in his major league debut. And they've been very, very high on this kid, Bob, for a couple of years now.
Yeah, and for good reason. And I thought a real good veteran move on the part of Troy Tulowitzki. A couple of off seasons ago, he invited Arenado and Ryan Wheeler to come work out with him in Colorado during the winter. They lifted weights and they ran and they hit, but most importantly, Troy Tulowitzki tried to get between this guy's ears and tell him what it takes to be a big league player.
Nolan Arenado will not get his first major league hit. Gerardo Parra takes it away. The Gold Glover this time in center.
Golf shot into center field. That ball hung up just long enough for Parra to close ground, make a nice sliding catch coming straight in toward the infield.
Gerardo Parra, that is once again want. Josh Rutledge now. He's 0 for 2, struck out in the second. Rutledge is scuffling just a little bit here. 0 for 2 today, 0 for 4 last night, and now 0 for 9 in the series. Former Rockies great Matt Reynolds is up in the Diamondbacks bullpen, as Patrick Corbin is on 92 pitches, 60 for strikes. One and one now. As we said, Corbin has gone into at least the 7th inning in both of his last 2 starts. He's in the 7th here. His pitch count high for the year is 106. That was his second start of the year here at Chase Field against the LA Dodgers. Broken bat, Pennington, Wilson, can they roll it? Rutledge beats it out. Boy, Bob, we have seen some sawed-off lumber in these 4 games.
Speaks to some of the good pitches that have been made at key points in the ball game. Ball just wasn't hit hard enough for the Diamondbacks to have the opportunity to turn that double play. Rutledge really motored down that first baseline.
Josh Outman is warming up in the Colorado bullpen, and we'll have a pinch hitter here for the pitcher spot in the 7th inning. And it looks like Yorvit Torrealba's coming up. There's Outman and the high stirrup Sox warming up. And so Walt Weiss will send up Yorvit Torrealba with 1 on and 2 outs here in the 7th.
Normally a manager doesn't like to use his backup catcher as a pinch hitter, but the Rockies do have a third catcher on the roster, Jordan Pacheco, as I've mentioned from time to time. Caught a lot in college. He's caught some at the major league level. He's a guy that could go back there in the event of an injury to Willeen Rosario.
Torrealba started behind the plate in the series opener here Thursday. Went 0 for 4. Yorvit Torrealba. And we mentioned all they've gone through with Rosario defensively. Torrealba's been given a lot of credit for the way he's accepted not only the backup role, but a mentor role as well with Rosario defensively. Yorvit Torrealba, 34 years old. There's some Baxter masks.
Yeah, deep Baxter fans out there.
The gap in left center. Parra, did he get it? Drops in, base hit. Rutledge to third. Parra almost had another one there.
Really had to extend for this one. Dangerous diving opportunity, but you could see Jason Kubel coming over to back the play up. That gave Parra the opportunity to try to make that diving catch. Just had to short hop it. And good base running by Josh Rutledge. Nothing else to do with 2 outs, but go hard until they tell you to stop. He's able to advance on to third.
And now Kirk Gibson will end Patrick Corbin's night. And it's another good one for the young left-hander. Pitching change here at Chase Field. We'll take a break. 4-2 in the seventh. The Rockies right now, 4-2 in the seventh inning. Fun times at the Ram Trucks Pool. Great place to watch a game. Is that gentleman the lifeguard?
I don't think so.
Patrick Corbin, 96 pitches. He leaves with a 4-2 lead, but responsible for runners on first and third with 2 outs here. And in to face Eric Young Jr. is the big left-hander, former Rockies great Matt Reynolds, who has been nothing short of sensational as a Diamondback. He's held opponents scoreless now in a career-high 13 2/3 innings. That dates back to last year. And he has been the rock along with Brad Ziegler in this bullpen. Picked up his first 2 career saves in San Francisco, and the bullpen was gassed late, playing late in extra inning games. EY Jr. 3 for 3 with 3 doubles today. Pops it straight up. Miggy wants it. Matt Reynolds comes in and puts out the fire. Get up and stretch. Home half of the seventh on the way. 4-2 Arizona. Fox Sports Arizona Fan Express, presented by Cox Communications and Fry's Food Stores, is back and ready to take you to a Diamondbacks game. Stop by this month's participating Gilbert Cox retail store or Fry's Food Store in Prescott Valley and enter win 2 seats on the Fan Express bus. You'll receive round-trip transportation to the Diamondbacks game on May 25th or the 26th. Registration ends May 13th, so don't wait. For more information, visit foxsportsarizona.com. They pick you up, they take you to the game, they drive you back, you're on a bus, you have a good time, bring your buddies, take care of the whole deal for you. Josh Outman is on the mound here in the 7th.
Outman was on the mound when Didi Gregorius took that fastball off the helmet, sent him to that 7-day disabled list. Outman made it a point to personally find Didi Gregorius and not necessarily apologize, but just let Didi know that there was no intent there. He felt bad about it and hoped that Didi would be fine.
And it's nice that Outman made the point to do it publicly and then say, you know what, that's not enough, I'm going to go find him, and then he followed up. Pennington, the pitcher spot, and Parra here in the 7th, 8-9-1, 4-2 Diamondbacks. They have won 4 of 5. They are 7-0 so far in series finales this year and 5-0 in day games. So we can keep this thing going here and take 3 of 4. Alfredo Marte is on deck. He'll hit for the pitcher. There's a strike. Cliff Pennington has singled and walked. He's been on base twice. Now, Bob, the other night I noticed that you noticed that Willie Rosario had changed mitts, and he's done it again.
I don't think it's the glove.
You're suggesting that there's another part of something that needs to be changed. Herrera, the backhand, the Jeter jump throw, and they got him.
My.
Jonathan Herrera comes in for Troy Tulowitzki and takes one out of the Tulo playbook.
Very reminiscent of Troy Tulowitzki planting that foot, as you call it, the Derek Jeter jump throw. Wow, did he get rid of that quickly? I mean, that's not even that close at first base. I thought that ball was going to get through in the left field for a leadoff hit. Herrera got to it. I didn't think there was any way he could throw him out of first base, but that's a nice play.
Chance here for Alfredo Marte. He will hit for the pitcher. That's in the dirt. Alfredo Marte pinch hit in Saturday's game and drew a walk. Alfredo had a big night here Friday night against the Rockies. Started in left field, went 2 for 4 with a single, a double, and an RBI. And as we've been told and seen, he can hit anybody's fastball. So in a fastball count here, look out. Hey, gluten-free here. No matter what the issue is, we got you covered snacks-wise.
Something for everybody here.
High in the air, center field. Fowler's under it, coming in, coming in. And he makes the catch, 2 down. The Heath Bell experience. And here is the man of the hour, Gerardo Parra, at it again. He's already extended the hit streak now to a career high in National League leading 13 games. Singled and scored in the 3rd, tripled and scored in the 5th. He's 2 for 3. Gonna try and bunt for a base hit. Arenado back there deep at 3rd. Gerardo Parra. Buckled him a little bit there, and it's 0-2. You got to give him a look that just said, hey. What do you want from me?
Probably going to get another one right here.
Sure, he'll take it. Herrera! Jonathan Herrera having a Gold Glove inning at shortstop for the Rockies. We're through 7. It's 4-2.
We asked you today, what's your favorite home jersey? And we asked you Sedona red, D-backs black, or D-backs white. And overwhelmingly, everyone likes the black jersey. That, of course, is worn on Saturdays here at the ballpark. And so thank you for chiming in. D-backs wearing the red today, but it's obvious the fans like, you know, I think it's guys because the fact that they don't wear it too much. So maybe people like the fact that, you know, it's rare and on Saturday afternoons here at the park as we continue our 7-game homestand here.
I like that. It's kind of a special thing. It's not like the Mets where you show up all of a sudden you're wearing black like 4 days a week and it's not even in your color scheme. That's a good look. That always drove me nuts. 8th inning now. The Heath Bell experience. Dexter Fowler, Jonathan Herrera, and Willeen Rosario for the Rockies. Heath Bell worked last night, 1 inning, gave up 2 hits and a run through 9 pitches. Fowler in there so far, 1 for 3, RBI single and scored a run back in the 6th. Heath Bell has struck out 13 batters in his last 8 games, 5 of 6 scoreless outings.
I just love the way this bullpen has kind of settled in after a rocky start for some of the guys. Everybody fits together well down there. They're a very cohesive unit, and they want to pitch like it.
Tell you what, you win late in the year and in the postseason, you win with bullpens, period. And these guys are lined up.
And just the way it's worked out for Charles Nagy and Kirk Gibson, they've kind of been able to ham and egg it. Nobody's really been overworked in that bullpen. Matt Reynolds came in and got an out here in the 7th inning today. He had pitched every other day since we left Colorado on that last road trip.
Got those 2 saves in San Francisco, and of course when they really needed to blow the other night, Josh Colemanter came in and did yeoman's work. Gave everybody except JJ the night off in the pen back there. Here's Coley in the bullpen. He came in, let's see, it was a few days ago, and threw 43 pitches. That was back in the series opener. Worked 3 innings, gave up only 2 hits, 43 pitches, 30 for strikes. And then JJ came in and closed it out. And that's another reason why this bullpen is pieced together so well. And there's Mr. One Pitch outing himself, Brad Ziegler. That one is well hit to right. And hooking. Foul. Technically, that's slicing foul if you're on the tee.
How about Ziegler? He's had 16 appearances already this season. He's thrown what, 20 pitches?
Just about. And they're all ground ball outs.
Oh, so efficient.
He did give up a home run to Rosario, probably on that changeup that he's been working on. Got to ask him about that, actually. Here's Fowler. We'll do it one more time. And the encouraging thing, Bob, about the bullpen, and we've talked about how they've been worked, not overworked, but certainly busy, and it hasn't been because guys are getting shelled and they're gone in the second inning. It's just all these extra inning games. So they're pitching in high leverage situations. It's not just mop up duty and guys are tired because they're down 9-2 in the fourth. They've been all of these close, late, extra inning games. Ring them up, sit them down. The Heath Bell experience. One away here in the eighth. It's only fitting that the World Poker Tour's largest tournament of season 11 produced one of its most amazing final tables, and you can tune into this week's episode and check it out. See which 6 players battled through a field of 1,181 entrants to get to the final table. That's coming up on Fox Sports Arizona. Give that man his money. Did you ever see that movie, Teddy KGB?
No.
Rounders. Matt Damon.
I'm familiar with it, but I don't remember any of the lines.
Malkovich, just fantastic. Jonathan Herrera. He looked at me like I had about 8 heads. What are you talking about, dude? 2 down. That's the total sum of my poker knowledge, is what I learned from watching John Malkovich's Teddy KGB and Rounders. Willian Rosario, he has singled and struck out twice, 1 for 3. Rosario homered here yesterday and homered here Friday night. Pennington from the outfield grass, and it's a 1-2-3-8 for Heath Bell. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Due up next, Cody Ross, who had the walk-off sac fly winner last night. The Heath Bell experience takes us to the bottom of the game here at Chase. Can you explain what's going on here?
Well, it's part bonding experience and part conditioning work on the part of the D-backs bullpen. You know, a lot of teams just send their pitchers out there to run back and forth on the warning track to get their conditioning in, but the Diamondbacks relievers find fun ways to get their work in. I'm not sure exactly what this is, but we saw them doing this in the bullpen earlier today. They throw the football around the outfield. They have obstacle courses they run. We saw them jump in the water at Coors Field in center field. Always as a group.
Even Glenn Sherlock kind of limbering up there, the bullpen coach. Sherlock looks like he could outrun all of them. Cody Ross here to start the 8th. Josh Outman back there for the Rockies, back out there. And there's a strike. Cody 1 for 3, RBI single his last time up. A.J. Pollock is on deck. He'll hit against the left-hander here for Jason Kubel. Jason activated off the DL just before the game. And Didi Gregorius went on the 7-day DL with that head injury. And Didi, all the tests are coming back just great. They're very encouraged, but they're being cautious as they should be. Arenado at third. No way.
Not the return Jason Kubel was hoping for. A couple of punch outs and a double play grounded into today, but I guarantee you his manager and his teammates are glad he is back.
Well, you certainly miss his left-hand power bat, and he's continues to play a solid outfield. We saw him throw Troy Tulowitzki out at the plate back in the first inning. Here's A.J. Pollock. A.J. had a big night last night. He went 3 for 5, including his 3rd home run of the year. Center field, Fowler started back, now coming in. Makes the catch. Took about 3 or 4 steps backward and then had to charge straight in.
That speed is a wonderful thing. Gives you the luxury of occasionally misjudging a ball and still making a catch. He broke back a couple of steps, reversed engines, comes running in, nice sliding catch.
2 outs in the 8th now. Here's Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie is 1 for 3, singled and scored in the 4th. Thought about it, laid off, 1-1. Saw a shot of the bullpen earlier. Looks like J.J. Putz is loosening up out there. Ready to lock this thing down and get out of here with 3 of 4 against the Rockies. First base, Pacheco was there. Nice play, and that's the inning. So we'll go to the top of the 9th. J.J. coming on. Diamondbacks lead at 4-2. Giants for a 3-game series starting tomorrow here at Chase, and you want to save $20 on your ticket. All you have to do is follow @DBacks on the Twitter or like DBacks on Facebook. When you do, you'll learn how you can save $20 for every seat you buy for the D-backs Giants series beginning tomorrow. So follow @DBacks on Twitter or like DBacks on Facebook. Thunderstruck here in the 9th. JJ was the winner last night.
Overall numbers for JJ this season, quite a difference in his home-road splits. In 6 home games, he's yet to surrender an earned run, has given up only 1 hit in 6 innings. In 5 road games, surrendered 8 hits and 5 earned runs in 5 innings pitched.
Kadire, Pacheco, Arenado, defensive changes. Parra moves over to left, and Pollock, who came in to hit for Kubel, will play center. So Parra, Pollock, and Ross left to right in the Diamondbacks outfield. Michael Kadire is 2 for 3, singled in the first, doubled in the fourth. I like Thunderstruck. It's a good act. Get that thing cranked up. JJ comes out, lightning bolts, the whole thing. First pitch swinging, and almost hits the roof. Pollock has it 1 away. Here's our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. Comes in the 7th inning. Gerardo Parra. That would have been Nolan Arenado's first major league hit. Instead, it's a Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game.
Hang with him, Nolan.
Arenado scheduled to bat 3rd in the inning. He's on deck now in his first big league game. Here's Jordan Pacheco, 1 for 3, singled his last time up. And as we saw last night, Bob, the split is back. It was darting and diving and dropping.
Yeah, really, JJ's doing a much better job of finishing that pitch, really extending out there toward his target, snapping that wrist at the end of the delivery. That gets that tumbling action that he needs to make that pitch effective.
1-1. The pitch was back, and it looked like a long lost friend. Didn't get the corner outside. 2-1 now. Good lesson JJ got in an email from his wife after he had the hiccup in San Francisco on a Brandon Belt home run. Cliff Pennington. He'll have no play. Knocked it down, but couldn't get up and make the throw. Tough play there for Cliff. Man aboard here with 1 out.
Well, you got 1 chance and 1 chance only. Once you make that diving play, you've got to get to your feet and grab the ball at the same time. Unfortunately, it just trickled out of the glove. Cliff realizes enough time had elapsed that he wasn't going to get Pacheco at first base. That'll go as an infield hit.
JJ, after the blown save, got an email from his wife, and it said, "Great news, the sun came up today." So the message there is, look on the bright side. Nolan Arenado in his major league debut, 0 for 3. Arenado was raking in AAA at Colorado Springs, hitting .364, 11 doubles, 3 homers, and 21 RBIs. Chris Nelson was designated for assignment to make room, which means the Rockies get 10 days to decide whether to trade him, release him, or send him to the minor leagues. DFA'd, as it were. 1-0 to Arenado. Two-0.
Pretty good looking pitch right there. JJ pounding away at that outside corner at the knees. Man.
Scouting report on Arenado. He will hit for a high average, make solid contact, uses the whole field, plus bat speed here with good power. Three and 0 now. Josh Rutledge is on deck. Ball 4. 2 on, 1 out for the Rockies here in the 9th. And the go-ahead run will come to the plate.
Second baseman, Josh Rutledge.
This is becoming old hat, and if it remains this way, you can make it 18 games. Rutledge struck out in the 2nd, flied out in the 5th, reached on a fielder's choice in the 7th. Everything's up, Bob.
And Miguel Montero reminding JJ to stay back. When you kind of leap toward home plate or really dive toward home plate off that mound, your arm tends to drag behind and you leave everything up in the zone. Miggy right here telling him stay back.
Rutledge 0 for 10 in this series. There's a strike, 1-1.
That's the one you like right there. Drive that ball down to the bottom of the zone. Get that good downward plane on that 4-seam fastball.
JJ ahead now, 1-2. Thunderstruck. Minus the blown saves, the bullpen has done the job. Whip, walks, plus hits divided by innings pitched. 1.1 is good. One more and you'll get it. Chopper back to the mound. JJ will go first. Paul Goldschmidt is there. 2 down. Runners move up, 2nd and 3rd, tying runs in scoring position. And Carlos Gonzalez is on deck. Boy, he is worth his weight in gold over there. Goldschmidt, as it were.
Number 5, Carlos Gonzalez.
Thank you. Takes a team. Not the greatest throw from JJ that time. Kind of a straight changeup. The one hopped into Goldie, but as usual, Goldie up to the task.
Carlos Gonzalez is slumping. He's gone through a 4 for 34 stretch with 10 strikeouts, and Cargo says, I know I swung at bad pitches. They're going to keep throwing them until I take them. Cargo says that even when he's up there in 3-2 counts, he is still expanding the zone. He says, I'm just getting myself out. They're not getting me out. Well, here's a spot. And it's a big one. Tying runs in scoring position. 2 outs in the 9th. JJ puts and Carlos Gonzalez, and here we go.
Good first pitch splitter that time. mentioned, Cargo chasing a lot of bad pitches, especially fastballs up and in out of the strike zone.
He was 1 for 5 last night. He was hitting .400 on April 18th. Since then, 4 for 34. 0-2. D-back Nation on its feet. You want to elevate it, but not quite that much.
Not quite that much. Miggy is a lot of things. Tall is not one of them. Takes every bit of his frame to get up and catch that high fastball.
Struck him out. Diamondbacks win it. Thunderstruck, and they take 3 of 4. J.J. Putz, the winner last night, saves it here. And the D-backs have won 5 of the last 6. There is the strikeout.
Yeah, this pitch has been kryptonite to Carlos Gonzalez lately. The high fastball just can't catch up to it. Good end to this one.
Diamondbacks are 8-0 in series finales, 6-0 in day games, and they win their 5th series this season. They've won 5 of 8 series, and that's going to add up to a postseason spot if you keep up that pace. Diamondbacks have won 13 of their last 18 against Colorado here at Chase Field, and the Rockies have suddenly dropped 6 of 8 following that 8-game winning streak. And when you do the math on that, Bob Brenly, you'll find the Arizona Diamondbacks leading the NL West.
Well, that's where you like to be. Be the front runner, let everybody else chase you. The Rockies, after a blistering hot start, have really cooled off, and with the Giants rolling into town the next 3 days, should be a lot of fun.
Get out here to Chase Field. Giants in for 3 beginning here tomorrow. Diamondbacks win. Let's head downstairs to Cindy Brunson.
Thanks so much. Diamondbacks Live postgame show presented by CenturyLink coming your way.